the auto mix inspired Michael Ball. It's the first time he's ever raised his hands on a yes. So that's pretty impressive.
Scare that referee. Let's talk a little football. Hey everybody, welcome to the Press Box. I am so glad you can join us. I am here with some of our usual suspects here. Randy Young, Michael Best, Jim Rayburn not here. He is picking peanuts this week.
Picking peanuts.
But gotta make that money while you can.
That's right. That's right. You got to get them out before the rain comes, guys.
Yep.
Anyway, he'll be joining us later, maybe next week. But
he's here in spirit.
He is definitely here in spirit, and we're going to talk dogs in just a little bit.
I've eaten some peanuts, and I know the life of a farmer is tough.
Yes.
Just from
you
that.
Boiled them before too.
I didn't boil them. I bought them.
Now, are you going to be the official representative for the dogs here today, Michael? Since
I was told
not to.
No. So I guess that leaves
threatening my life.
That leaves me?
And that's where we're at, that
That's
he's
not
going to
y'all,
turn
too.
it over to you. I don't know that he specifically.
I don't think that's what he had in mind.
I don't think he had that in mind either.
So I'll cover the dogs this week. Well, let's talk about the Thomas County Central. You roll, you beat Tift, 56-0. Great win for the Jackets. Get into the game a little bit, and just as the region, the heart of the schedule looms here for the Jackets. Tell me about the Tift County win.
Well, it was about 30 seconds into the game before you could tell what type of game it was going to be. We kick off to them on the kickoff, force a fumble, and we score on our first play. So 31 seconds into it, we kick off to them, and then we scored at 7-0, and it steamrolled from there. Jalen Johnson had a great night. He was 8 for 8 for about 130 yards or so. Trey Brenton ran for about 120 and a couple of touchdowns. Malachi Thomas had a couple of touchdown receptions. It was 49-0 at the half, or 42-0 at the half. And then we had the starters in. Coach Rogers came out at the half, and we interviewed him. He said, "Look," he said, "I don't want to run it up, but we need to work on our passing game."
I was just about to say, like, you need people to get reps. You got to be in shape. You're going to have 4-quarter games coming up.
Yeah, it's coming, and so they left the starters in the opening drive of the third quarter. We go right down and score, and from that point on, it was our second and third string guys that kind of closed it out. What's very impressive, our starters have given up 21 points the whole year. That's it. But what's even more impressive is the backup guys have given up 26. And that's against the starters for most of the other teams, because those guys are playing almost the entirety of the second half. So right now, Thomas County Central playing at a really high level, all three phases of the game, offense, defense, and special teams. But as you mentioned,
here we go.
Yeah, Murderer's Row awaits, because we got to go to Houston County, not this week, but next week, next Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m.
Golly.
Yep. Well, what happened? They share a field with veterans, and veterans had it that Friday night. It's kind of like the Albany schools. They wanted to try to play on a Thursday night, and Coach Rogers said, "No, we can't do that. I mean, it's a 2.5-hour ride." Well, then they wanted to play on Saturday night, and Coach Rogers said, "Look here, if we're going to be inconvenienced, everybody's going to be inconvenienced. We're playing during the day. That'll get everybody home in a decent hour, too. And, too, with the weather being kind of what it is, it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah. And who knows? I mean, if it's a sunny day, the passing team, I would think, might be a little bit of a disadvantage with the sun. I don't know. But regardless, Houston boasts one of the top quarterbacks in the state, arguably the top quarterback with Antoine Hill. He's thrown for about 1,600 yards so far. Their only loss is to Lee County, and that was a shootout. And then we have Lee County the following week. So, yeah, we're going to find out what we're made of here, and hopefully, again, our guys show up. If we just keep playing at the level we're playing, if somebody beats us, they're just a better team. Yeah. But right now, Central playing really, really well, and again, the meat of the schedule stares us in the face.
I've heard of a saying that say good teams don't get bored doing the boring stuff, right?
Yeah.
You can say that about Central. Like, they just, hey, keep blocking, keep tackling, keep playing with effort, and they don't get bored, which is impressive to say.
What has been a huge benefit of the way things have evolved, with the way the season has gone, we have really developed some legitimate depth. I mean, we're 3 deep at certain spots, and some of the guys that have stepped on the field in those mop-up roles, they've earned some time to get out there with the starters. I mean, they've looked really, really good, and hopefully, you know as well as I do, that depth thing comes into play the more the season goes along, and hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of that. But, again, big part of the season stares us in the face. Open week this week. Everybody gets to go enjoy the fair.
That's right.
Just kind of turn the switches off, and then we'll get back to it with the pedal to the metal come next week.
All right, speaking of open week, Cairo Cert Makers have an open week, but they were 49-6 winners over Hardaway, and I think that same thing applies to the Cert Makers about not getting bored here. Just go win, get a victory, and get off the field. So tell me about that Hardaway win.
Well, it's the third week in a row that we've been very fortunate, put up a lot of points in the first half, and then second half you got a running clock. You don't get a lot of touches in that second half because that clock is.
Did it run? By the way?
Man, they finally figured
They
that
ran
thing
it.
out. That running clock runs, and I
amazing
like
how
that.
that works,
I
yeah.
like that. And but we put up 49 points. Jadarick G. Simmons, our quarterback, had a great first half. He was 10 of 11 for 170-something yards through 4 touchdown passes. R.W. Jones had 2 catches at tight end, and Maury Powell had 1. Our Keishan Spence, our running back, he had a couple of touchdowns. Corey Baker had a touchdown as well, and so things were rolling pretty good. Defense held them to no first downs and negative 17 yards of offense by the end of the game. They
That's
never
pretty good.
crossed the
That's
50
pretty
yard
good.
line.
There's nothing wrong with that.
They may be Hardaway, but they ain't hard at
Here
home.
we go. Here we go. Here we go. That's right.
And but bless them. And their poor cheerleaders didn't show up to about halftime.
Oh.
And, they didn't have their band there, so
They didn't go to Colquitt, did they?
Yeah, I don't know. They may have gone somewhere else. Who knows? They may have went to Cairo, Egypt.
I was going to say they headed to Egypt trying to find that bridge.
But it was, it was senior night, so we honored, the seniors, recognized all the senior football players and cheerleaders and band members and ROTC members prior to the game. So that was a big night. And the win puts Cairo in the playoffs for the 21st year in a row.
Here we go.
And
Go Cert Makers.
when we play Westover, if we can get a win there, we will secure a first-round home game for the 20th year in a row. It all started back in 2003 with Falaw's first year. Tom Falaw's first year, he got us in the playoffs. We went on the road and played Woodward Academy, and since then we've hosted Game 1. And it hadn't always been the Hardaways and the
You've
and
had
the Shaws.
some,
I mean, we've had Central in there with Bainbridge. We've had Peach County, Ware County,
Thomasville.
Thomasville. We've had some,
some tough region opponents.
Crisp
Yeah.
and teams like that in the region. So that's a pretty good feat, I think, to stay in the playoffs for 21 years in a row. And nobody wants to break that, That's kind of the goal every year.
There's a lot of intensity around that, which I think is
they
is
don't
good.
want to be the
thing.
team to break that.
That's a good
Now
thing.
you got a weird part of the schedule where you're open, Westover open, Bainbridge. We've been talking about that Bainbridge game, and I'm super excited about it. But
What's Westover got?
You got it,
Westover is got a lot of athletes, and it's kind of Bainbridge. I'm not going to say struggled with them, but they. Even some of the Bainbridge people say, Westover got to rolling pretty good early, but then, like Bainbridge does, they just put them away.
Yeah.
So they've got some good athletes. Don't know about, coaching, and a lot of these teams are that way that we play. They got good-looking kids. They're
Right.
just not coached up. And so it's one of those cases, they'll dance with you as long as you
let
Keep
them.
the music playing for
keep
them.
the
That's
music
it.
playing. So you
I
gotta
just
put 'em
want
away.
the city of Cairo to have an event downtown the night before the Bainbridge game, right? I mean, come on now.
I don't know.
I just
You gotta come
you,
up with
you
something,
are
Michael.
you are a
Bearcat
mover
skinning or something.
You're
I
a,
don't know.
Come up
you're a
with
mover
something.
and a shaker in this.
Well, we
in that
may just all
community.
go over there to the square and take place in the Serp City Get Down, whatever
Yeah,
it is
let's
they
do
have
it.
over there.
Yeah.
They got T-shirt. They go big time for this game. So, and that game's down the road.
Gotta get Westover.
We got to get Westover first. So, but so far, we're bound. From the very first game when Central, just skull drugged us over there in Cairo, and you wonder what's it going to be like. But the kids kept their heads down and kept working and have gotten better like Cairo teams do every year toward the end. And it seems that traditionally Cairo teams get better as they go through the year. And so we certainly haven't played the caliber of a Thomas County team since then. But the way I look at it, if you do what you're supposed to do, then you're doing pretty good.
Yep.
Because when you start struggling with the Hardaways and the
Yeah.
Shaws and those teams, then you got to worry. But if you're beating teams like that, like you're supposed to beat them, I think you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
And that term was skull drug. Is that what you
I-
said?
I like
was gonna
that.
write that
I
down.
have to look that one up.
I just drug our skull.
That's
know.
pretty
Yeah.
good. That's, you got a visual there.
It was a visual of a nightmare for 4 quarters of football.
Well, it was a pretty good dream for on our end. Just saying, it's
yeah,
not bad
and,
at all. But
eventually that worm turns, and I just can't wait.
Yeah, you're
And
ready.
I don't know how long it's going to be, but we'll just wait patiently because it works its way back.
does.
around
it does.
the cycle.
It does.
does.
We've been on the receiving end of that last
And,
handful of years, so it's all good.
And again, it was good to see the senior. You've been doing this a long time when you see the senior parents,
Yeah.
and you realize you remember when they played.
Yes,
and,
or they were
you
your
know, or
students.
You taught them,
Yes.
and so there was a lot of that going on, and then even a couple of grandmothers, I think I remember, may have taught them. I don't know, but. It was good to see JaMichael Williams. I know you remember old JaMichael played, and he has a son playing, so it was good to see him and several others that played for us through the years with their kids out there. So that was a big night.
The best straight-on field goal kick I've ever seen in my life when he kicked
3-0.
against us. Yeah, but it made it to the shopping center if he got his foot into it good enough.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yep. Anyway,
All right.
that's cool stuff.
Good memories there, and kudos to the start makers for I think focusing. To me, we talk about that a lot, but good teams take care of business no matter who's in front of them,
That's
and
it.
start makers are doing that. So
Week to week to week is
that's
all you
right.
can do.
That's all you
Let's
can
go
ask.
1-0.
Let's, speaking of good teams, let's talk about Colquitt County. They are going to Camden. Camden's 6-1. You guys, tell me about that. Do you think Camden's improved? Do you think Colquitt County is going to handle business coming up this week?
This is one of those games, I would be concerned about this if I'm a Colquitt fan because you got a long ride that you got to get over there to. And Camden, the last handful of years, has not been what we're used to with Camden. They've turned the corner a little bit. Now, they're not blowing people off the field. I think they won this past week, like 35-29 or something. But Jeff Herron, who led them to all those state championships back in the 90s and the glory days for them, he's back over there. And clearly, something's working for him. So if I'm Colquitt, I'm keeping half an eye on this thing. This could be very interesting. And again, a very big region football game for both of them.
Yeah, and speaking of region, you've got Thomasville. They are going to travel to Columbus again, but they lost to Carver 28-14. And to me, the Dogs had some opportunities they just couldn't take advantage of. And there's some plays to be made. I like the Carver team. I think Carver's a big physical football team, and they were down 22-0, and then had a chance.
I don't know.
Came
I
back
was
and had their
told not
chance.
to say anything.
You can't say anything, Michael.
So I don't know. I'm just.
But
I don't know.
Well, it was 22-0, and I did hear they had a long kickoff return. Thomasville
Yes.
did, and the problem with this game, it sounded like was just big plays. I mean,
Yeah.
Carver just big played them to death.
I'm just wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't want to
Speak
get
no evil.
gonna
Michael
follow.
in trouble, so let's don't do that. But
But the good news is, though, for Thomasville, everybody seems to be beating everybody else in that
Yeah.
region right now because I think Monroe beat Crisp County the other night, which was
Which is a
totally
shocker,
unexpected. And that kind of opens it up. I mean, if somebody can sneak up and take care of Carver, which is possible for sure, then who knows? I mean, you
Yeah.
could end up in a four-way tie the way this thing's rolling along. But
they have
we'll
to
see.
take care of business. I mean, they do like all the teams here, I think home playoff games are a big deal, especially for Thomasville. And if they can secure one of those, I think that would be good. So they got to take care of business by going back to Columbus. And
Won't be a problem.
yeah, they should take care of them. But again, these are 16, 17-year-olds.
Yeah, you're right.
So you got to come out and play well, and they've done that. So
And you got a 3-hour drive to get up there.
yeah, a
and,
lot
you
of
know,
distractions to deal with. So
Yeah, I get it.
but they've done well doing those types of things. So
But don't hoist the white flag. I've heard a lot of the
Yeah,
Thomasville folks this week saying, well, that's it. No, I mean,
No, not at all.
No, not at all. I mean,
Not at all.
you've got these teams kind of knocking each other down. It's just a matter of how the formula works to get you where you want to get. And just like you're saying, you just want to host one of those playoff games. That's a huge gate and an opportunity for you to get inside the inside track to better things as the playoffs move along.
and you don't know how the playoff seedings are going to go either.
That's right.
Sometimes you want to be second.
Those brackets make a huge difference.
Crazy. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Mitchell County loses to Seminole 14-12.
You can talk now.
You,
Welcome
I know.
back.
Okay.
This is a press box record for
That's
silence
right.
here.
Well, that was hard.
I'm proud of you. And
I promised my guy though.
that's right. You live up to your word.
You
Man,
did.
proud of you
You
for
did.
that.
To my word.
Pelham has Irwin County coming into town for a region square off as well. Randy, you were telling me that Irwin County is not what they used to be.
Yeah.
So Pelham may be favored to win this region, or has a good
They
shot at it.
definitely got a very good
They
shot.
definitely have a shot.
And just like you're saying, I mean, I think the worm is kind of turned with Irwin. Everybody goes through those plateaus where you, as I've described before, some years you look and you've got Jimmys and Joes everywhere, and then other years you're just trying to find a Jimmy or a Joe.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Irwin's in one of those spots. So Pelham definitely has a shot now. There's no question about it.
Pelham showed glimpses of being a very good football
Yeah.
team against us.
They played really hard against cert makers.
And going back to Mitchell, I think they lost in overtime. They're really fighting and
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to get that thing on track.
Yeah.
But
Well, the good thing with Pelham, running that veer, they're doing something there that you don't see.
Yeah.
And if they can jump on Irwin early on and kind of hold on to it, they've got a definite shot at winning that football game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the veer.
Yeah.
you can
It
stop
wear-
it,
yeah,
stop it,
yeah.
and stop it, it'll wear you down,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they're
Yeah.
going 80 yards.
And that first quarter is the biggest because your guys are trying to adjust to all the things that are happening. And if they can get a little bit of a lead right there, they've definitely got a shot at this one for sure.
Speaking of defense,
All right,
Oh, my
speaking of
gosh.
defense, we had a Big 12 game breakout for Brookwood at Deerfield, first region game for the Warriors. They win 59-56 in an absolute thriller. Not overtime, guys. This was just during the game
Regulation.
here. Let's talk about the stats. So Raj Waldrop, 9 touchdowns and 698 yards, both state records.
In one game.
In one game. Rex Schofield with 369 yards, that is a state record. And Rex and Seth Boggs tied a school record. I promise.
There they are.
With 4 touchdowns in the game. So
Golly.
you needed every last bit of it. Had a lot of guys hurt on defense, and you kind of knew it was going to be a track meet. And Brookwood gets the ball with a minute left, had about 60 yards to go, no timeouts, just zip down, and they throw a touchdown pass to Seth Boggs to win the game, and then held on late. Last year against Deerfield, Deerfield scored in the last seconds of the game, and you thought, here we go again.
Yeah.
And Deerfield was driving, and they missed a 50-yard field goal. So Warriors come away winners, and just a crazy game.
Yeah,
A fun game, though.
Our producer, Riley Martin, was saying that there were over 1,300 total yards in that one game.
Yeah.
boy, that would have blown Joe Ward's mind. Have to keep up with all these.
I think it took them a while to come up with the stats.
They're still working on it. They ain't got them all.
Golly,
That
that's
was
just crazy.
that was a fun game, and they got theirs running, and Brookwood got ours passing. So it was
That's
fun
okay.
to watch. So also our one of our better wide receiver / running backs commit to Elon. TJ Thomas was out. So what would have been like with him?
Yeah.
A lot of
I
fun,
think Central's got some guys at Elon. If I'm not mistaken, I think
Yeah.
Ricky Fulton may be up there. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's neat. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We got Yes No's coming back here for
It's back.
college football. Hey, and welcome back to the Press Box as we try to get to the never-ending quest to understand why pumpkins are named candy corn.
The autumn mix. I can't make it any more cleaner than that.
He rests his case right there.
It's autumn mix.
We're going to leave it at that for now, but the debate continues.
debate will continue.
We have skull drug this topic.
Y'all are using big words on me now. Y'all can't be doing that.
I'm going to use that one. That's good. That sounds like something Dusty Rhodes
Yeah,
would do.
I think it's actually
Yes,
Mike
sir.
Tyson. Didn't Mike Tyson use that one?
I
a
think you
little
may
bit?
have. Whatever. We felt like Mike Tyson that Friday night. Felt like we were met with Mike Tyson.
All right, well, speaking of Mike Tyson and punching people out, let's talk about Georgia's win
That's what
over
we're talking
Kentucky.
about.
Yeah.
Georgia's win over Kentucky and really kind of put it together. And again, who had faith in Georgia to pound Kentucky? This guy right here, not these two over here.
Now, that's not true.
We'll check the tape, but
Okay.
you guys didn't have the faith that I did in Georgia. That Georgia was really going to pound Kentucky. Kentucky was going to try to outmuscle you guys, and that's really dumb.
Well, here's the deal. After we taped last week, I got a little inside skinny from somebody who's in the know. There was a meeting between some of the Georgia offensive players and Coach Bubble and Coach Smart where they basically said, we've got to open this up. Our offense is going to hinge on Carson Beck. We just don't have the running backs right now to be able to do it. And the results kind of pay for themselves. If you remember back, I think it was in 17.
Is he the one that talked to Kirby?
Well,
Okay,
there was a
yeah,
picture
yeah.
of him talking to Kirby.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think it was about that. They were talking about the pumpkins and the
We're
corn. I
talking
think it's
about
probably
all the mix.
All right.
You remember back in 17, Nick Chubb and Sony Michel went to Coach Smart and said, look, we need to carry the ball more. We can carry this team if you'll just trust us. And I think the same thing happened, but with those receivers, with Ra Thomas and the kid that came from Missouri,
Yeah.
Lovett.
Yeah.
And it worked, clearly.
Yeah, Beck looked really
Oh, my gosh.
comfortable. And, to me, you guys, y'all maybe found itself. I mean, the question is, have you found your identity for Georgia? Michael, what do you think?
I think traditionally, we've talked about this, I think that Kirby Smart is a pound and ground
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, that's what he wants to do.
And that's what he wants to do. But he knows there are times like against Alabama, there are times again in the national championship against Ohio State that you've got to be able to open it up and you've got to go. And I think that he realized that this was that time. This was kind of like going into the Tennessee game last year where a lot of people were doubting if this is going to be the game. This is going to be the streak ends right here. Tennessee's got them. And there was a lot of talk about Kentucky. And, you look, they pounded Florida, skull-drug them.
They did
Skull-drug them. And then they got this running back coming in with all these yards. And so I think it was, I think Kirby does just enough to win. And then there's times that he says, let's just,
let's go get them.
Let's get it. And I think he was proving a point. He wouldn't admit it because they even asked him in the press conference, do you feel like you played like the number one team in the state? And he said, I don't care about being number one.
Yeah.
I care about it at the end of the year. But I think he kind of sent a message that, hey, we're still Georgia now.
Yeah.
Quit doubting us.
Well, I think, too, the end of the Auburn game may have been a light bulb moment for everybody because, Georgia's in a situation there where they're on the road on a hostile environment, not playing particularly well, and it was almost like you saw Beck say, just let me have the ball, coach. And it worked. And just like you're saying, Kirby wants to run the football, but I think he understands with this team that's not going to be where they're going to hang their hat.
And banged up running backs as well.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
and you've got talent out there.
Use it.
Brock Bowers, all those guys.
My gosh.
So I think that's very good. Now, again, they're going to pound Vanderbilt this week, but also a good matchup by Georgia. So when you play Missouri, it may not quite go that way. Missouri can sling the ball around.
Yep.
So, it may not be the narrative all the way through, but I do think you've got something you can hang your hat on for the
Well,
Dogs.
not only that, but I think the Kentucky offensive scheme fit very well with what Georgia does defensively.
Yes.
They're not fancy. They want to line up and out physical you, and you just don't do that with Kirby Smart defenses. You better be able to attack the edges and be able to get the ball downfield, and they
And their
could not do it.
quarterback, just his
Yeah.
accuracy was just, he liked me throwing at times.
Yeah, he had some open
I
guys.
think you got a better arm,
I
Michael.
don't know.
I'm
There's
just
a couple,
saying.
there's a couple times he short hopped it like
Yeah.
about 20 yards,
It's very weird to see. I saw him play for NC State about 2 years ago. He was
It's very accurate.
Yep.
very a pro prospect, probably put in the first round. He got injured last year and has just never really recovered. It's very weird to see him struggle like that.
Yeah, Georgia did a real good job creating pressure. Again, that was one of the things that was most impressive to me about this particular game. Of course, the offense exploded, but the defense played really, really well, and they were able to wreak some havoc in the backfield, which we had not seen really consistently up until this game.
All right, now this is the part where we talk about FSU, and FSU beat Virginia Tech, and good to have a win. We certainly, I don't take any of those wins for granted.
No.
I appreciate it. I think people are kind of coming to terms of this could be a playoff team, but it is not the 2013 FSU Seminoles. It just isn't that.
Right.
That's just not their talent level. They've got to keep improving. So the question is, do you think they will keep improving? They did improve the run game. Trey Benson had over 200 yards. It seemed like they changed their blocking and different things they're doing that. So you think they're going to improve, keep improving, Michael Best?
I think they are. Every week they look better. They've had some close calls, but they still kind of slipped back into that. But last week, like they were about to slip back, but they picked it back up again. So
yeah, and the defense only gave up 10 points, which in the modern era is still pretty good.
Good.
I mean, they gave up a touchdown for a special teams touchdown is how that came. So.
Well, the thing that worries me a little bit now, and the only reason that I've got my toe on the brake regarding FSU, it's pretty clear now that LSU's defense is awful.
Sure.
Sorry, their defense is awful.
Yeah.
And Clemson, I just don't think is very good. I mean, they barely beat Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And that was one of those slugfest games where, I mean, they couldn't do anything. And those are the two signature wins for FSU right now. The bottom line, really and truly, when you look at all the teams up in the top part of the polls and everything, I mean, everybody's got a case to make for being like the top team in the country, but there's also stuff against everybody that works in the negative that way too. Nobody's a clear-cut number one, including Georgia right now.
Yeah, and that's going to make it fascinating. So Oregon and Washington play this week, and there's going to be a lot of Dog fans watching that game. I think it's kind of, okay, let's size up the Pac-12.
Yep.
How are they going to be?
Yep.
Oregon looks pretty physical. They probably learned from the manhandling they took from Georgia last year. So
Well, Dan Lanning, I mean, their head coach was the defensive coordinator at Georgia, and they built that Oregon team kind of in that Georgia mold. And that Pac-10 bunch doesn't know what to do with that.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Pac-12 or Pac-10.
Whatever it is, what number?
Or
Pac-2
Pac-2 next year. We're going to talk about them in yes, no. So let's get going here.
Is it yes, no time?
Yes,
All
no
right.
time.
Putting the pen down.
No time. Everybody ready?
Concentrate.
All right, this one's going to be easy, Randy. Golly, I don't even know why I have this one here. Randy, Bama and Georgia for the SEC championship.
Yes.
Yes.
I say yes. All right, Michael, Kirby Smart forgot about Vandy when he said all SEC schools should be ranked.
Sometimes he gets to talking a little much. You know, you've heard him in the locker room sometime. And, yeah, probably not all the teams need to be ranked.
Yeah, nor does
Forgot about
Arkansas.
Florida,
Yeah,
apparently, too.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
No.
No.
All right, good easy one. Another easy one. There's a lot of easy ones this week, y'all. But
Some softballs. I like it.
I'm telling you, man. Randy, USC, the Trojans, they'll play defense this year.
I could have answered this one weeks ago. No.
They haven't yet.
Not even close.
You think they'll play defense this year?
No.
No.
I don't either.
It's not in their bloodline.
They're not about defense.
Yeah.
No, they're about
Well-
scoring 1,000 points and showing off Caleb Williams, which that's a great thing to do. But you better be able to stop people, and they can't do it.
But is this a Lincoln Riley problem? You know, he
Yes.
kind of did that for Oklahoma,
Yes.
right? I mean, the Oklahoma fans looked like they were kind of the bitter people, and they just didn't like Lincoln Riley. But they said kind of, man, I don't know what's wrong with their
Well,
defense.
I
They
remember
fixed
us whenever Oklahoma was in the playoff mix and all of not the autumn mix, the playoff mix, and everybody talked about, okay, well, here they come, and everybody said, well, they better be able to play defense, and every single time it was the defense that let them down, and nothing's changed.
it. Yeah, they didn't have a linebacker that could spill at all. And
No.
it was like I'm like
Just
you know,
lost.
just trigger downhill. That's all you got to do.
Just lost.
And lost. So anyway, here's a nature question, guys. I mean,
Nature?
yeah, here we go. You know, ibis. You know, the bird ibis, right?
yeah.
He's the Miami
Mascot.
Mascot.
Oh,
all right.
okay.
But the bird ibis, they have such long necks. They have no need to kneel. Yes, no.
Woo!
Seminole
Golly.
right
I
Man,
like that.
Who wrote that?
This
Did
is
Riley
pure
write that one?
FSU right here, buddy. I like it.
Well, here's another one. Is it?
Wait.
Oh, you want
We didn't yes, no
You
it.
want to yes, no that one?
They do have a need. They don't, but they have a need. How's that?
There's a need to kneel at times, but
they
clearly
don't.
not an urgency. So, just
All
saying.
right. It's true that Mario Cristobal was going to be an orthopedic surgeon, but he could not understand the knee.
Where's the
Bad
mix
jokes.
when you
Man,
need it?
I need a pumpkin. I need
jokes.
a pumpkin.
Yeah, see, right now I'd be eating one. Right
Yeah, I
now.
would
Just
too.
go
I
ahead.
would
You
too.
wouldn't
Just to
have to answer.
contemplate the
At
question.
this point, I'm thinking that Mike Gammons is going to bust through the door and put me in a headlock.
Last question, or last yes, no here. Here we go. It's true that King Charles wanted to knight Coach Cristobal, but he wouldn't take a knee.
You know, I'm going to speak for our viewers and say you rode that horse long enough.
All right,
Oh
here we
my
go. Well,
gosh.
there we go. Had to do it, guys. That was a lot of fun. Congratulations
We had
to Georgia Tech.
as a child, I think he had a bad case of measles, and that created a problem.
Had the
Just,
measles.
Y'all never make fun of my jokes again, ever.
at least with Tolio. I mean, just
All right, y'all. Enjoy what's good, and that's not this last
This-
segment here.
Yeah.
But
go get some autumn mix.
get
Go
some
get you
autumn
some
mix.
autumn mix and eat the candied pumpkins.
eat the pumpkins
the
that are
candy
known
corn
as
pumpkins.
candy corn, and enjoy high school games, high school football, band cheerleaders.
All right.